My deputy, Rod Rosenstein, is highly capable. I have the highest confidence in him. We need Congress to deal with the immigration question. There are loopholes in our laws that are being exploited. We need to get them focused, and we're pleading with them to do so.
These articles of impeachment filed late last night call out the Deputy Attorney General and allege Rosenstein has a conflict of interest in the Russia probe because he signed off on the final surveillance warrant renewal for Trump campaign aide Carter Page. It reads in part, quote, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein's failure to recuse himself in light of this inherent conflict of interest and failure to recommend the appointment of a second special counsel constitute dereliction of duty. Here's Congressman Jim Jordan from last night on the FBI and Justice Department's use of the unverified Trump dossier to secure the warrant. It's important to note that in the Republican FISA memo, they emphasize that critical information was withheld from the surveillance court. It was never told about British spy Christopher Steele's hatred of Trump and how after he was fired by the FBI, he maintained contact with the Justice Department through Bruce Orr there on the left, a senior official whose wife there on the right worked for Fusion GPS, the firm behind the dossier.
We all know what the Justice Department did with the dossier. Never forget, Rod Rosenstein signed the third renewal, signed that, which was based on the dossier, which we know parts of it came from Bruce Orr, high-ranking official, through his wife Nellie, the whole ordeal. So we're tired of the Justice Department giving us the finger and not giving us the information we're entitled to do our constitutional duty. More importantly, the American people are sick of it.
And as you mentioned, Sandra, in the last few minutes, we've had some information from our Capitol Hill producer, Chad Pergram, who indicates from his sources that there will not be a vote today, but they want to continue to keep their foot on the pedal, if you will, keep up the pressure. So they're going to have contempt and impeachment now on the table. Sandra.
So how have Democrats been reacting, Catherine?
Well, really, since late last night, Democrats have said the Republican move is deeply partisan and an effort to help President Trump discredit the Russia probe. In a joint statement, the senior Democrats on the House committees with oversight said, quote, this resolution to impeach Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein is a direct attack on the special counsel's investigation, full stop. It is a panicked and dangerous attempt to undermine an ongoing criminal investigation in an effort to protect President Trump as the walls are closing in around him and his associates. It is certainly not, as its sponsors claim, a principled attempt to conduct oversight of the Department of Justice. In a statement, Senator Dianne Feinstein, the senior Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, called the move partisan nonsense and emphasized Rosenstein is doing his job, withholding documents that protect sources and methods. But the bottom line is that House Republicans continue to keep up the pressure and accelerate the pressure on Rod Rosenstein to provide the remaining documents. Sandra.
Catherine Herridge, thank you.
Joining me right now with reaction is the author of the upcoming book, The Deep State, former Congressman Jason Chaffetz. It's good to have you here. Congrats on the new book that's coming out. I have a feeling it may do well, judging by how well Greg Jarrett's has done, as well as Judge Janine's. Let's talk about the concern here, though. Yeah. People are saying, you know, this is too much. You heard Paul Ryan. You know, we shouldn't be jumping to it's not really high crimes and misdemeanors. Why isn't there like an in-between step of, say, maybe being held in contempt of court before you go to impeachment?
The duly issued subpoenas have been in place in some cases for years. At what point does the Congress actually stand up for themselves? I mean, I was in Congress 8.5 years. It's been a year since I've been out. Over that nearly 10-year period, I can point to multiple instances where the Department of Justice just puts a stiff arm up and says, no, you can't. On the heels of a 560-page Inspector General report where we know that there's major problems at the FBI and at the Department of Justice, you have an obstructionist Department of Justice that won't let Congress do its job.
Walk me through how obstructionist you feel they are. Give me some examples.
Well, like the Hillary Clinton email investigation and scandal. Closed case, no charges, immunity given out, 560-page Inspector General report. People have been fired. People have been dismissed. Congress has a right to review those documents. What are they worried about?
Why won't they give them to Congress?
Exactly, because of Rod Rosenstein. Now, the other thing that Rod Rosenstein is conflicted upon is that he is the subject of an investigation into the FISA abuse. Did the Department of Justice spy on the Trump campaign? And there's a lot of smoke there. Rod Rosenstein signed one of the documents. So if you are overseeing an investigation and you're the subject of an investigation, shouldn't you recuse yourself? I mean, Jeff Sessions recused himself of pretty much everything except going and talking to high school students yesterday. And so you have Rod Rosenstein, whose autograph is on that very document. How do you oversee an investigation where you're the beneficiary of the result?
So what do you think? I mean, give us some insight into the upcoming book, too. I mean, what do you think his role in all this is? Do you think he is deliberately hiding it?
I do think they're deliberate. I don't think they respect Congress's ability to see this information. That's why they don't want to give it up. And they have
because it's a Republican-controlled House?
Yes, and Jim Jordan has pointed this out several times. Many of those redactions, they've actually been able to peel back. And guess what? This isn't classified information. When we found out that I think it was Andrew McCabe had spent $30,000 on furniture for his office or something like that, that wasn't classified, but they redacted it on a duly issued subpoena. If you were issued,
so they're trying to protect people.
They're trying to protect themselves. That's what the deep state, my book, is all about. How they don't like transparency. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't like oversight, and they fight back.
So now they get someone in there who's actually holding them accountable. And they're fighting back against that.
They don't want the Trump agenda. And remember, you now have James Comey, the former director of the FBI, advocating that the public vote for Democrats. Why? Because Devin Nunes and Trey Gowdy and John Radcliffe and that group of people is investigating what he was doing. And he knows that if the Democrats get control.
Setup? I mean, and I was talking with Greg just about this yesterday, because his conclusion is that they were trying to frame Donald Trump, and they wanted Hillary Clinton to go off scot-free. Do you have a similar kind of conclusion? I mean, do you think they were deliberately setting out to actually hurt this president because they wanted to undo the will of the people?
You have 50,000 texts between the number 2 person in counterintelligence and the person who was the lawyer, Lisa Page, and Peter Strzok. You have a 560-page Inspector General talks about animus and bias. There's a lot of smoke out there that says Congress should look at it. They can't fix it. And you know what?
Did you see the deep state, though? Because you have a background there in D.C. Did you ever see examples of this sort of front and center that you could highlight?
I had the State Department, like, literally spy on me, send people with me when I went into Libya. I had 45 Secret Service agents that illegally dove into my records and in multiple offices around the country, diving into my background. I'm sure it's not a coincidence that suddenly the IRS said I had, identity theft problems. It's very real. I walked into it thinking, deep state, I have no idea what this is. I left 8.5 years later knowing that this is very real and it's very aggressive and it doesn't hide. It's not some person with a tinfoil hat sitting in the corner controlling levers. It's the fact that they are brazen about it. And we talk about the EPA, how they cover up sexual harassment. We have people that worked at the FBI that admitted to watching 4.5 hours of porn a day and never got fired because they don't want to allow other people to get fired, so they let them just continue to sit there. I mean, the cases just go on and on and on.
Well, so you would applaud this decision of impeachment?
They want to get the documents. It's uncomfortable. Oversight's uncomfortable, but that's who we are as a nation. We are self-critical. We do have oversight. Oversight's been in place since 1814. There's plenty of precedent for it.
Wow. All right, that's scary. All that has that happened to you. And, all right, Jason Chaffetz.
Thanks, Trish.
Good to see you. I look forward to seeing the book. You'll come back on to talk about it.
Yes,
when it comes
absolutely.
out. Okay, good. The Deep State.